Morning, guys. Happy Monday morning motivation. This morning, I am thinking about David. See, David is one of my very favorite people in the Bible. And his story begins so humbly as a shepherd. And I like that a lot, especially since as a shepherd found out in the middle of the field, God heard his heart, heard his song, heard his worship, and saw in him what nobody else saw. He saw a king. And he sent the prophet, even while Saul was still the king, and anointed him. And you would think the day after he was anointed as king of Israel, that immediately he would go into training for it, maybe, or possibly go to the palace to live, or maybe be recognized in a parade or something, but no. The very next day, after he was recognized as the future king of Israel, he was right back where he had been the day before he was recognized, back in the field. Back alone, with the sheep, worshiping God. I liken this to something on a far smaller scale, if we were thinking of it in modern terms. Imagine if you were a janitor at a big company and a shareholder told you, listen, the CEO doesn't know it, but you're the future CEO of this company. And you knew this guy had the ability to make you the CEO. And you would think, maybe I should go to business school, or maybe I should get an internship at this business, or maybe I should go work for the CEO so that I can learn his job. And the shareholder says, no, go back to mopping those floors because that's going to teach you what you need to know. So the thing is when David was out in the fields by himself, learning how to worship God without anybody telling him how, learning those songs straight from the thrones of heaven, he was learning how to hear from God. He was learning how to give his worship only to God. He was learning how to care for, manage, and defend the sheep. And these things were going to be very useful as a king. Because as a king, he needed to know that his kingdom was truly aligned with God. He needed to know how to worship God, even in the loneliness of the throne room. He needed to know how to manage and defend and lead men just as he had the sheep. The thing is he wasn't being trained the way he thought he needed to be trained, but he was being trained exactly the way God wanted him to be trained. So this is on my mind today because I think that a lot of people considered their plans interrupted when they were sent back to the fields, when they were taken out of the office, out of the schoolroom, out of whatever scenario they had thought they were on to be able to get where they were called to be, and told to go back home and learn directly from the throne room. Learn how to worship alone. Learn how to lead alone. Learn how to hear from God alone. But the thing is that just may be, just like David, exactly the way God wants you to learn. Your calling has not stopped. Your goal is not ended. The thing that you have on your heart is just not stopping. It's not ended. It's not over. Because just because David went back to those fields doesn't mean he wasn't called to be king. It means he was being prepared God's way. I believe you, sitting in your home, away from the office, perhaps away from your church, perhaps away from your friends, perhaps away from your schoolroom, are being prepared God's way. But you must stay the course. David didn't give up. He didn't stop recognizing that call. Even when other people and family members and friends and even other rulers told him this was an impossible thing and that you are going the wrong way. He knew that the prophet had said was true. He was to be the king. And I'm telling you, when you know what you're called to do, when you know what God has said, nothing else matters. All right. I love y'all. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.